He's like a good dude. He's kind of like an action hero. It was pretty cool. But it's a good take on, good difference in detectives. So
yeah. Nicole White, who played, who we had mentioned earlier, one of her big breakout roles was in Encino Man.
Really?
The Pauly Shore film. And a lot of folks probably don't really recognize her. But if you saw her younger self, you would recognize her. She's been doing acting and dancing in theater since she was 12 years old.
Nice.
So she's a very seasoned actress. And she was in all of those TGIF shows. She played day player roles in literally every one of them.
Hey. I loved her in this movie.
She's great.
Okay.
She has a great line. I like it. She delivers that line so perfectly where she goes, "You mean to tell me that it's your imaginary friend that's killing?" Or your imaginary friend is the killer? It's like... She's so good
because she does it without being too sarcastic. It's like sincere sarcastic, but sarcastic.
She's very much like CCH Pounder. You would remember her as the hotel manager in Demon Knight.
Yeah,
she's very much like her. She has a very solid dead delivery, which I think is excellent.
Yeah,
and very, very deserving in this movie.
They need their own movie. I want a Moss and Shaw.
I would love that. Oh my god.
Hobbs and Shaw versus Moss and Shaw.
Specs and Specs and who's the other guy?
Oh, from Insidious.
Yeah, they could come. They can blend those two worlds perfectly.
Specs and
what was his name?
Lee Wanell and the other big dude, Angus something, the huge guy.
Yeah, who was like in I forget what movie he was in.
Man, I love those movies and I forgot it. Specs and
I was going to say Sever, but I know that's not right.
Specs in 4K. Stupid. Specs. Wait, that's X and Sever. Wait, Specs and Sever?
Specs and Sever are Malignant in Insidious House.
So would that be Lee Wanell and Lucy Liu?
You sound dead silent on the subject.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Lee Wanell and Lucy Liu, Specs and Sever.
I mean, and then a lot of critics about this movie, they either loved it, like I said, they loved it, were like, or they hated it. But they all loved, or in the middle, or hated, for all the exact same reasons, which is crazy. William Bibani for the Wrap, he said that even if you do manage to get on the Malignant's wavelength and predict where the surreal plot is headed, you'll probably get whiplash when it unfolds. The film's third act centerpieces are unpredictably strange and absolutely breathtaking. To hell with the rules. To hell with the storytelling sanity. Wan is having so much fun being freaky that we get swept up in the manic energy. He's a tornado of sketchy ideas and viscera that he's sucking us all into his mad monster vortex. Oh. Which I mean, this man loved this movie. And then you got people that absolutely hated it. Lindsay Bear for the Associated Press. She said, "It's a thanklessly humorless and offensively sadistic film that fails to capture any sort of authentic emotion or make any meaningful statements about trauma. The film is all gory spectacle for the sake of gory spectacle, and it feels beneath both Wan and Warner Brothers, who have made some very good films together. If you must see Malignant," and this is what I absolutely agree, I think that the move that I think some people online are having with this film, they saw it at the wrong time. Because what Lindsay says in her article right here, this is what I absolutely agree with. If you must see Malignant, a theater might honestly be the best bet. That way you at least can laugh along in utter shock with your fellow theater goers.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely true. This is a movie that deserves to be seen in a theater, much like Blade Runner 2024.
Yeah.
2049, sorry.
24K? Is that what you're going to say?
24K.
But I think, too, you watch this movie at 2 p.m. I mean, a lot of people are busy. They don't have that luxury. But if you watch this movie at 2 p.m. while you're doing something else, you're not going to like it.
No, not at all.
Because this is one of those you got to get absorbed in, and you got to embrace the lunacy. So I guess that's once again like, but I think James Wan went into making this knowing it was going to be polarizing.
Yeah,
and so
I think that he probably, when he was going and making this, he's like, well, they're going to expect this, and they think I'm the Saw guy and I'm the Insidious guy, and it's like, yes, but no. Like we know that you've made other movies.
Backward walking villain.
Come on now.
All right.
And before I do some recommendations, I can just add one thing. We actually have a personal connection to this movie.
We do?
You didn't know this. But in the credits, under set PAs, lists, and I'm sure you remember when I say the name, John Funk.
John Funk?
The John Funk. For those of you that don't know, Mark and I worked on a movie many years ago I guess we could probably say because it's been enough time. I called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Funk.
And there was a guy named John Funk that we all became friends with. And his name was listed in the credits. I reached out to him to make sure it was actually him. It was.
Nice.
I asked him and he said, yep, that was me. I worked on it. And I asked him if he wanted to share any stories. He said, no, I wasn't really interested. But he's like, feel free to mention the fact that I worked on the movie.
I mean, yeah. I was there when one of his first times he worked as a PA.
Yeah. We met him when he was brand spanking new and fresh. Man. He's doing really well. He's a teacher in Africa right now.
That's awesome.
He's been doing that for the last year.
I was in the industry for a while. Now a lot of ADs. I was like, yeah, I was there for your first day on set.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, but it was cool, man. Like, I was a PA when you were an extra, and then now you're about to become an AD.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yeah,
I worked with a lot of people like that are now first ADs that I remember whenever they were day players as PAs just scrounging by to get by, and it's like, wow,
they got a day for me.
Yeah, right. I remember all that. I remember all those days, and they're all like, and I'm like, wow, now you're the one calling the shots.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's very, very surreal, but yes, it does happen.
I mean, from where Atlanta's come from, probably let's just say 2008 with like Zombieland started shooting. That's when a lot of the current crop, I think, of PAs worked their way up to ADs because then they did Footloose and Odd Life of Timothy Green. And then Teen Wolf came around.
I think Teen Wolf and Vampire Diaries. I think that was.
Yeah, that was
then
big.
The Walking Dead.
Dead.
Those are the three big ones in Georgia.
And then Hunger Games came into town.
Yeah.
Hunger Games 2, and then it just sort of.
Yeah. After that, it just was. You could just light a bottle rocket and it just blew up.
And then Pinewood got built.
Yeah. And then Pinewood, now it's called Trilith. Yeah, they have like their own city down there now. Almost. A friend of mine lives there. I was like, wow, you can actually live there, and he's like. Yes, and they have their own like live work play area, all kinds. Because last time I was there was 3 years ago, somewhere around. I think it was 4 years ago, and it wasn't that big.
No, there's nothing out there.
Yeah, it was pretty much nothing. And my friend said, yeah, you come out now. I mean, you got like stores, you got malls, you got all kinds of like grocery stores, all kinds of stuff.
They're just doing more and more. They're building more and more out there.
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, that means, when we first started in the industry, it was just warehouses.
Oh, yeah.
Rents dropped, it wrecked an entire day. It wrecked an entire day. Now they got warehouses that are just, now studios are just beautiful.
Yeah, so yeah. They're actual real studios. They're soundproof and everything. And I think that like, people don't quite understand like shooting a movie and everything, that like sometimes these are literally done in basements. Yeah. And they're not like these, it's not a big glamorous set, and that's kind of like where it all started here in Georgia, which it was like warehouses and abandoned parking lots and whatnot.
Remember on a certain sequel, I think it was the third film in a franchise, when we were inside a abandoned warehouse in 17-degree weather. You were a stand-in at the time. And we had like a 15-hour day inside a concrete building that held all the cold in on a 17-degree day with about 300 extras. And then we had to wait because a certain someone ate food in front of everybody. And we had to wait like 10 minutes in 17-degree weather while a certain someone ate a certain food.
Ouch.
While everyone froze in 17-degree weather. I don't know if you remember that day.
No, I don't. But I can only.
They probably all blended in together.
They do after a while.
You were standing in from someone from Australia.
I know what movie you're talking about, but I don't remember the day.
That day? Okay.
I don't remember that day.
Got it.
But I know what movie you're talking about. I was picking up what you were putting down.
All right, good. That was, oh man. I've worked some bad days, right? And that day wasn't that bad, but I just remember being inside that abandoned warehouse in 17-degree weather.
Yeah, we've all worked some really rough days, but yeah, that cold, the cold is never, the extreme cold and extreme hot, I think, are the two things that people don't really quite understand. And you're like, yeah, whenever it's like 120 degrees. I mean, when I did Ninja Warrior, I did season 26 of Ninja Warrior. That was in 140 degree heat in the desert. That was insane. That was the hottest July on record.
Jeez,
it was insane.
I think Georgia people don't expect how cold it gets. Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky, shot here. And they shot during the winter, and he's like, "Oh, it's Georgia." Oh, nice. He's like, "It's Georgia. It's the South. I'll be fine."
Yeah. That's what they all say, and then they're like, and then they go, "No, I mean, it can be a drastic change." I mean, for instance, on the show that I'm working on right now, one of the guys that's from LA, he said to me, "I had no idea that 50 degrees could feel cold." And I was like, "It does. It drops, and people don't quite understand that when they come out here. It's extreme heat and extreme cold." And everybody's like, "Why doesn't it snow?" And it's like, we don't know.
And then it's the worst when you're in a parking garage at night when it's cold, because that thing, it's like becomes a freezer.
Oh, God.
All right.
Yeah.
Chris Kelly recommendations.
Oh, yeah. Now that we're done with it. So, like I've said before, my recommendations, it's kind of like if you picture like that the podcast is like a meal, and this is more like the mashed potatoes to the side that complements the steak.
What's on the mashed potatoes?
And
And why are they mashed and not like scalloped or baked?
Scalloped potatoes. You're one of those people? Well, smart.
So you're a mash guy.
I'm a mashed guy.
You're a monster mash guy. Do you put salt, pepper? Like what's on this mashed
Well,
potato?
yeah, you gotta put salt and pepper.
Butter?
Put a little. No, not butter. Like how I said it like that.
No. Swipe.
So one of the movies, I only have
Hey,
one.
wait! I'm invested in these potatoes here.
I like how I honestly like my mashed potatoes. I like put salt and pepper, and then depending if we have any gravy, I'll put a little bit of gravy on it.
Nice, and then you put your spoon and just wallop it in someone's face.
Yeah, just slap them
like
across
Wonder
and
Years.
slingshot them. It was actually, and we're still cleaning up after Thanksgiving.
There's potatoes everywhere.
Like green bean casseroles over here, and
I just want to give the listeners something to think about. So when you say it's the mashed potatoes, like Chris Kelly mashed potatoes.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
And it's,
On the wall, gravy, salt, pepper. All right, cool. I see it now. All right.
So I only have one recommendation because I was going through movies that I thought would match this really well, and I really think that I've already mentioned them. So one of them I've already talked about. So I was like, well, here's one that I didn't talk about, and it came out at the same year as *Malignant*, and it's streaming on Hulu right now. Oh, you know what? Before I get to my recommendations, I totally forgot. I wanted to say. *Malignant*, if you are interested in watching *Malignant* and you don't see it streaming anywhere, please go see it at Videodrome.
Yeah.
I like to mention them as much as I can. Those guys, I love them to death. They're out there in little 5 Points here in Atlanta, right across the street from Manuel's Tavern. They have it. They have the Blu-ray version, and $5 you get it for the week. Awesome guys. And also, if you want a movie that's like *Malignant*, or if you want my recommendation I'm about to say, if you don't really care to see that, they'll recommend something for you.
Hey.
Those guys are amazing at what they do, and they're just wonderful.
Yeah.
So
You've been promoting them since 2017?
yeah, probably my first podcast. I think I did.
Jeez.
I know.
You've come a long way, Kelly.
I know. I love those guys so much. They're perfect. They really do a line of work that is not done anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the movie guys. I mean, you walk in there and you say, I want something like *Malignant* but funny. They'll tell you. They got it. They got everything. So my recommendation.
Kramer versus Kramer. Stupid. All right, what do you got?
So it's called We Need to Do Something.
Oh!
Yeah.
Zanani Boetis recommend IFC release.
Dude. It's amazing, isn't it?
So she told me I had to watch it. And
it's so good.
Pat Healy.
Pat Healy, which I was going to say, you know him from Cheap Thrills.
Woo!
And I still haven't seen Cheap Thrills.
Holy mackerel.
Sierra McCormick, who I think is like a nice up-and-coming star. Most audience members out there would recognize her from American Horror Stories. She's a phenomenal actress, and I really think that you could see where she's getting her ground right now. And I think she's gonna be amazing.
Nice.
Like whenever she gets older. But she's one of the stars in this movie. It's a family that's trapped in a bathroom during a storm. It's ultra low budget. You don't really know what direction it's gonna go.
Good production design.
Dynamite and everything that it does. I mean, it's got some serious gross out effects too.
Yeah.
Like when you see whenever she has to. Spoiler alert. There's a scene where Sierra has to pull a tongue out of the dead dog.
Yeah.
mouth. It's gross. There's a funny
Good snake work.
There's yeah. There's a great scene when it kills the brother. Oh, spoiler alert. There's a great.
I might edit that piece out.
Please do, because I don't want people to get, because that's really gross too.
Yeah.
There's also another great moment where the girl cuts open her stomach and blood just flies out of it, and then the parents come out with cups to drink her blood. It's disgusting. And another really cool thing about that movie, there's a great little cameo by Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
And he just has one little quick, like, I'm a good boy. And you're like, what was that?
The dog, right?
Yeah, it's the dog. And the dog's voiced by Ozzy Osbourne, which is cool as hell. I love it. Strongly recommend
Good
it.
recommend.
If you liked *Malignant*, or if you just want to see a nice horror film that you probably weren't expecting to be good, strongly recommend checking out We Need to Do Something, streaming on Hulu.